Many of you have established businesses or are considering doing so because you have entrepreneurial spirits. You're all starting from scratch, whether you want this to be a small side business or your new job. You have no or only a vague understanding of how this functions. Therefore, it's crucial to begin with money and business literacy. We have now put together a list of 15 books that we think everyone should read before beginning a company in order to assist you. You'll need about 3 months to thoroughly read through these works, but those 3 months could mean the difference between a 5% success rate and a 20% success rate. And that's a huge increase when you really think about it. Consequently, reading these novels is a no-brainer. So, here are 15 novels you should read before beginning your side business. Just one crucial point, though, before we proceed. The order in which we discuss these works matters because each one expands on what came before. Try your best to persevere. Okay? 1. Lean Startup, with a book that does a fantastic job of not bullshitting you. We get things going nice and easy. This book is all about putting your business idea to the test and validating it before spending a lot of time and money on it, which is precisely what you should be doing right away. It's like a roadmap for starting a business, and it's ideal for anyone unsure of whether or not their concept is good. The concept of the minimum viable product, or simply creating the most basic version of your product that can still be termed a product, and testing that out first, is the most important lesson to learn from this book. As a new business owner, you have no actual idea what works. You must use the tried and true method of throwing items at a wall to see what sticks. However, the number of things you can throw at the wall is the only limit. The minimal viable product is relevant in this situation. You can afford to create a few more when you first make the basic version. If you put all of your eggs in one basket and it doesn't pan out, you're pretty much screwed. Being a successful entrepreneur ultimately comes down to how long you can manage to play the game before something takes off with a minimum viable product. You can make that period longer. We won't reveal any more of the book's plot right now. Okay, evaluate it yourself now. 2. The $100 Company by Chris Guillebeau. This one was chosen as your second novel because it expands on the first. The theme of this book is low startup expenses. Finding real-world examples of people who started profitable businesses with low startup expenses will give you an idea of what the minimum viable product looks like for various target markets and help you design your own. The concept of the micro-business, which is a method to start a business with very little money and scale it up as you make more money, is the most important lesson to learn from this book. You see, beginning small doesn't necessarily mean not ending big, and this book will demonstrate how to do it. 3. Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek. For our third book, we've reached out to one of our fave writers, podcasters, and self-described test subjects. Although the 4-Hour Workweek was written a while back and some of the concepts are no longer relevant, it still accomplishes one fantastic task. And as far as we know, it's the only work that discusses this. This book shows you which way to go if the first 2 books offered you ideas about where to begin. At the end of the day, you want a company that fits you as an individual. Tim refers to this as lifestyle design. No matter which industries are trending right now or which have the most lucrative markets, you need to consider how that job will work into your life. Working on something you're already sort of doing is much simpler than having to completely reinvent yourself in order to run a company. And as an added benefit, Tim hosts a podcast called The Tim Ferriss Show, which we wholeheartedly endorse. 4. Michael Gerber Went to the Emitter. After reading the first 3 volumes, you now have a general idea of where and how to begin. Most people make their first serious error at this time. And you make the error of thinking that you'll be a great employee at the company you establish. Let's examine a case in point. Consider that you were a superb cook. Your pals can't wait to visit you for dinner because everyone enjoys your cooking. So it makes sense that you consider opening an eatery. Right, it only makes logic. But consider this, owning a restaurant and working as a chef are two entirely distinct careers. In truth, a restaurant owner might not even cook very often. The meal must be created by the chef. Making connections with suppliers is a necessity for restaurant owners, and this requires entirely distinct abilities. How many individuals do you know who started a business only to realize that it was not at all what they had anticipated? And for that reason, we advise reading this as the fourth novel. It'll teach you the difference between working in your business and working on your business. 5. Good to Great by Jim Collins. After finishing the first set of books, your mind will be overflowing with thoughts. You'll start making notes and contemplate what one item will ensure your success. It could be a fantastic market, idea, or company model. And this is where the majority of individuals commit the second crucial error. That is the only thing they accept as real. That's where this book enters into play. Numerous case studies of large and minor businesses are included, along with information on what separates the successful ones from the unsuccessful ones. You'll also discover that there isn't a single object. Instead, there are countless minor issues, such as who you employ, your leadership style, and the real purpose behind what you're doing. And the cumulative impact of these factors will determine your level of achievement. I'm good. On to the next book. 6. Start with Why. By Simon Sinek. You'll feel anxious by the time you've finished reading Good to Outstanding. You learn that things are not quite as straightforward as you initially believed. You'll start to wonder why you're doing this, because there is a significant amount of work involved, and on top of that, it's work you didn't even contemplate. Do you really want a company, or are you happier working for someone else? It's time to study right now. Begin with Why? Simon Sinek's. This guide will make it much simpler for you to discover the solution. 7. The Power of Broke by Daymond John. We take a brief break before moving on. This book focuses more on the individual path of a person who overcame all odds to achieve enormous success. It develops the notion that having little money or few resources makes you hungrier, and you should use that as leverage to give yourself a pleasant constant boost of motivation to push through. 8. The Art of Possibility by Rosamund Stone, Zander and Benjamin Zander. We advise adding this to your collection after finishing A Power of Broke. The theme of this work is perspective. The reason why most people don't believe they can succeed is because they simply cannot picture themselves as an entrepreneur or a boss. They narrow their view, which reduces their possibilities. Or, to say it more bluntly, you have outdated ideas. You need to alter it because it doesn't function in the modern world. You can accomplish that with the aid of this guide. 9. The Power of International Leadership by John C. Maxwell. When you understand that you need to change your mindset so that you can truly develop into a great leader who can inspire others and build a team, you must act, but there aren't many opportunities to take leadership courses. How does one suddenly become a leader? Do you even commence, then? You should commence by reading this book, though. 10. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Okay, so you began with the first 9 books. It's time for you to make up your mind about how seriously you want to approach this. And the first thing you must alter is your behavior. We don't really need to promote the power of habit to you because we are confident that you have already heard of it. It is unquestionably among the finest books on the subject of changing your identity through daily behavior. It is a science novel, not a book of inspiration. Make a note of it. 11. The $1,000 Project by Chris Guillebeau. With a slightly larger budget, we're going to return to the second book. The second book on our collection. This is an updated version. You've learned a lot more since then. When reading the first one, you are better prepared, you have a clearer understanding of what is happening, and you require something more specific to follow. The $1,000 initiative, then, is a logical next step for you. 12. The Power of Networking by Dr. Ivan Misner. Almost everyone will be dealing with the same issue at this time. They are aware of their obligations, but they are unaware of those of others or even of their identities. To state it simply, they lack a network. They are unsure of where or how to network with potential customers and clients. The issues are all addressed in this work. 13. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Another very well-read volume. But the main reason we included it on this list is because it can serve as a solid sequel to The Power of Network. The book emphasizes the significance of surrounding yourself with supportive and upbeat individuals who can assist you in reaching your objectives. Hill contends that by spending time with the proper people, we can build a supportive environment that will enable us to accomplish all of our goals. This argument effectively ties the threads from the first book together. 14. The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. You recall his statement that there is no one thing? There is, in fact, but it's a novel. This book is essentially all about concentration. It trains you how to block out outside distractions and focus solely on attending to what matters most. We chose to include it because, during your entrepreneurial journey, you will frequently find yourself with a very full plate. And they will all appear to be very significant. However, you can't complete them all at once. What do you then? Prioritize your tasks and pay close attention to the ones that will have the biggest effects. 15. Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. With Gary Vaynerchuk's novel, Crush It, we'll finish up this course. We selected this book because you're starting a company in 2023, not 1989, which is why. As you can see, the majority of the works on this collection are quite old. Since then, a lot has happened. Even though the ideas are still the same, the practice is entirely different. Now, when it comes to Gary Vaynerchuk, a lot of people adore to detest him because he is constantly speaking about the same subject and doing so everywhere, which is what he is paid to do. He genuinely thought that content has replaced business as we once knew it. He developed into a content generator in order to support his argument and serve as a business card for his customers. Everyone is aware of him. So it was successful. You must follow suit. You only have two options for self-promotion, regardless of the type of company you choose to launch: sponsored advertisements or content. Furthermore, content is paramount, my friend, as you don't have million-dollar marketing campaign funds. You must acquire the necessary skills. Additionally, Gary Vaynerchuk is a fantastic role model. And there you have it, 15 books to increase your company achievement. Of course, as a thank you for sticking with us, we have a gift for you. However, it's not a novel. It is a word of wisdom. This is the most straightforward type of company you can think of. To one individual who is unfamiliar with you, sell one item, whether it be a good or a service. You could grow to 10, 100 and 1,000 and eventually 1 million if you got together to do that. However, you must first begin with one individual. Tomorrow, we'll see you back here.